Hello everybody, I'm going to talk today about the second Dresden book, Full Moon by Jim Butcher. Now this one is all about werewolves, and now I have a personal preference in my werewolves to be upright, running on two legs most of the time, just a big hulking furry person type deal. That's the way I always saw werewolves in the media I grew up on. But in here, most of the time it's just wolves, which doesn't, it's just run from dogs, which I'm sure out in the woods I would run from wolves chasing me. I've seen that Liam Neeson movie. But having said that, these are some scary freaking wolves. There is a particular one that's about 600 pounds that's just super strong and rips people to little ribbons and bashes through walls. And Butcher does a really good job of making it seem very terrifying. So a couple things I can address. In the first book, I was talking a little bit about the charges of sexism in these books. And there's there's a bit of it in here, but I think there's an explanation. First one, we need to distract the cops. So the woman in the group, one of the women in the group, says no problem, and she disrobes, steps out into the rain, and goes dancing around the neighborhood with these cops that need to be distracted looking at her. At one point it says they go and speak to her. And then the distraction is complete, but it switches, and she just gets in the car and they drive away. I'm like, well, wait a minute, what happened? Because I don't necessarily mind that they used that as a distraction. It's where was the end? Did they chase after her and she ran away? Did they call other police? Because that's what police would do. And but it doesn't seem to indicate that, because she comments that, oh, men are easily distracted by nudity, and that's it. It's like they just let her walk off, and it doesn't work at all like that. So it's just kind of an odd bit to throw in there. Later on, there's, let's say, a pitched battle going on. Life and death. Murder. Oh, I'm scared. Well, as werewolves, when they transform back into people, their clothes have been torn off, so they run around naked half the time. And that includes the women. And in the middle of these terrifying situations, you can blink your eyes and someone's killed. Well, Dresden happens to know, oh, she's got nice ones. Oh, she's got nice ones too. He kind of calls himself out a little bit, and another character does, calling him every name there is for pig. But I think I was informed that Jim Butcher doesn't do that sort of thing in any other of his books. And so what I think he's doing is trying to shove it down your face that Dresden has a problem. And this being just the second book, I have the third one ready to go. There's 17 some books. I'm interested in what his changes are going to be, not just on that topic, but let me roll right into the fact that Dresden doesn't exactly always respect his own boundaries. So, I mean, when push comes to shove, he'll gear up and go take on the bad guys. But in the meantime, some of those bad guys give him a hard time, and he kind of accepts it. And his friend, one Lieutenant Murphy, she at one point beats him up and cuffs him, and you're the murderer, you're going to jail, and he feels guilty about it. And I thought, well, I don't quite understand this. It's like sometimes, I thought he wasn't a pushover, but occasionally he really is. And so I'm wondering if at some point he's going to say, look, here's the line, don't cross that with me, because I'm getting kind of sick of this. Even at one point later on, there's a villain, one of the villains, because there's multiple villains, is hanging upside down by a rope, and he's in a bad situation, and Dresden feels sorry for him, even though he's the biggest mobster in the United States, and he's had people killed for what he wants. Oh, I feel bad for him. So it's like an extra noble being, but it's going to start grating on me if there isn't at least some kind of character change. But an excuse that seems to have presented itself for that is that there are hints that his family bloodline has evil in it. And one of the things Dresden is able to do is lock eyes with people, and they literally trade information about each other through this union. And he finds out what kind of person they are. Well, they find out what kind of person he is, but he doesn't know what they're reading. Well, somebody's scared to death about what they saw in Dresden. So whether he knows it or not, or what this dark thing is going on inside him, it might be that he's overcompensating even at an unconscious level. I've got to stay good because I'm flirting with the dark side. And there's in both these, he has these, oh, I've got the power moments, and he has to bring himself back or he's going to lose it and go down the wrong road. This is literally Jedi stuff, like side versus dark side. Lieutenant Murphy. Okay, so she has her own agency. Even though Dresden, I don't know that he actually objectifies her. He does like the way she looks, but he ultimately does respect her. But in this, she's what's called lawful stupid. And if you've never heard that term before, it has to do with Dungeons and Dragons. And in Dungeons and Dragons, you have a viewpoint system: good, evil, neutral. Well, you can define those a little bit more by chaotic good, which would be like Han Solo. Neutral good might be Luke Skywalker, at least in the beginning. Lawful good would be like Captain America. But sometimes the way lawful good is betrayed is this super righteousness, where we're right, I've got it right, I know it's wrong, and oh, you might be my best friend, I'm sorry, you got to pay. And that seems to be what Murphy does here, to the point of becoming an antagonist to him in this book. And as she might not know the difference based on whatever evidence she has, which seemed minimal to me, but to the reader, you're reading about what she's doing and the attitude she has of like, you're just a dumbass in this one. She's better in the first one. She's stupid in this one. And again, it seems like Dresden and Murphy are in these books for the long haul, as far as I can tell. And so is McCone, the mobster. And I'm hoping to see how they change over time. Because 17 books, these can't be constant rehashes of each other. These are actually kind of identical in structure, and at some point it's, well, I'm powering up and going off to fight the bad guys at the end after all this trouble. It hopefully there's a little structural change as it goes, and personality changes, and we'll see how their characters evolve over time and see what happens to Dresden. I like Dresden to, like I said, he sometimes he has a confidence, but sometimes things just roll over him, and I don't know what kind of he's a bit of someone who, let's say, went to college, got a degree, and they're on their first year at their job, and they know what they're doing, but they just haven't gotten particularly good and as confident about it as others have. And so that's what I'm hoping to see, is that at some point he's more like someone who's been doing their job for a decade, strolls in and say, hey, I got this. Because at the moment he'll say that sometimes, like, hey, I've got this. He doesn't really got this. That creates some drama, but at some point, again, I want to see his character evolve beyond what's in these first two books. I hope I did not miss anything. A little stupid, sympathetic to the thing. Yeah, I think I got it all. So I am off to the third book. These aren't like literary giants. These are not amazing, but they're really good and fun. I like reading them. So these are easy to get through. Some of these books are just easy and fun, and so are these. Jim Butcher, Grave Peril. This, I'm guessing, is about ghosts. Oh, I did forget something. Had a rival wizard. This is werewolves, and for some darn reason that's popped up a little too close together. So there may be something or someone working behind the scenes to stir up trouble. And so we'll see if that's what happens, or if it's found out, if it's dragged out. So someone's a hidden enemy, I guess you could say. So that's it for those. Quick purchase I made yesterday, kind of impulsive. This is the Archimedes Engine, Exodus, Become the Traveler by Peter F. Hamilton. I tried, I think it was an omnibus of some books he had written previously, and I wound up not finishing them because it was just bad. But the concept of this sounds rather awesome, so I decided to give it a go. I am going to read you the description at least. 40,000 years ago, humanity fled a dying Earth, traveling in massive ark ships. These brave pioneers spread out across the galaxy to find a new home. After traveling thousands of light years, one fleet of ark ships arrived at Centauri. It doesn't exactly say if that's Alpha Centauri or not, so we'll find out. A dense cluster of stars with a vast array of potentially habitable planets. Well, that don't sound like Alpha Centauri or nearest star. So the survivors of Earth signaled to the remaining ark ships that humanity had finally found that new home among the stars. Thousands of years later, the Centauri cluster has flourished. The original settlers have evolved into advanced beings known as celestials and divided themselves into powerful dominions. One of the most influential is that of the Crown Celestials, an alliance of 5 great houses that controls vast areas of Centauri. As ark ships continue to arrive, the remaining humans and their descendants must fight for survival against overwhelming odds or be forced into serving the Crown Dominion. So it sounds like they went out, became godlike, and are enslaving people as they arrive. Among those yearning for a better life is Finn, for whom Earth is not a memory but merely a footnote from humanity's ancient history. Born on one of the Crown Dominion worlds, Finn has known nothing but repressive rule of the Celestials, though he dreams of the possibility of boundless space beyond his home. When another ark ship arrives from Earth, previously thought lost, unexpectedly arrives, Finn sees his chance to embrace a greater destiny and become a traveler, one of a group of brave heroes dedicated to ensuring humanity's future by journeying into the vast unknown of distant space. So that concept grabbed me really well, so I'm on it, but I don't know when I'll get to it, because until I get sick of Dresden, I'm going to keep reading Dresden. That's it for me. Thank you very much. Beautiful day. I hope your day is beautiful too. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye now.